The National Hockey League is back and with a plethora of questions. Can Montreal get back to the Stanley Cup final? Will the Kraken make a splash in their inaugural season? Will James Dolan make the Rangers implode? Probably. But perhaps the most exciting storyline of the season is the Seattle Kraken. Before this week, this team was interesting, but now 5 players are out in COVID protocol. Guys, how do you think the Seattle Kraken will fare in their inaugural campaign?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I mean, the division they're in is not that good. I mean, you got the Vegas Golden Knights, the original, expansion team. Seattle's got some shoes to fill, absolutely, but you got Vegas and Edmonton ahead of them. I mean, that's a third-place finish, and that's a playoff finish. I think 90 points is a realistic expectation. Is it high? I do think it is, but I think they can do that. They got the goaltender in Philip Grubauer now. He had a 1.95 goals against average, 30 wins last year with the Colorado Avalanche, and a .922 save percentage, which is not bad at all. And I think that defense, that's what they focused on in the expansion draft, was defense. Mark Giordano, Jamie Oleksiak, Vince Dunn, who I think is one of the best two-way young defensemen in hockey. So is it going to be hard for them in their first season? Absolutely. I don't think they'll live up to Vegas's expectations that Vegas did, but I think they could be a playoff team.
I agree with Tim. I mean, General Manager Ron Francis went out there and he made sure that his defensive unit and his goalies were sound. I do think that the one downfall that the Kraken will have in their first season is I don't think they're going to be dominant offensively. I mean, you look at that potential first line without Yanni Gourde until November due to shoulder surgery, due to his back-to-back runs with the Tampa Bay Lightning. You're looking at Jaden Schwartz on the left wing, Jared McCann at center, and then you're looking at Jordan Eberle as your right winger. That doesn't intimidate any other first line in the NHL. Then you look at their other lines, 2, 3, and 4. It's a bunch of guys that have played that position before, but some guys are getting more time in higher lines because obviously it's an expansion team. They're going to get more opportunities. The ice is open more. I do think, though, that they're going to be one of the more gritty teams in the NHL. You look at some of their gritty guys with Brendan Tanev, Mason Appleson, and then you look also at Colin Blackwell. I don't think it's going to be a give-me in night that they're going to lose, but I think they're going to be in most of the games. I just don't think when they play teams that are more dominant offensively, they're going to be in it.
And Dave Hackstall is a big-name hire. They went out and got him. As a Flyers fan, I've seen this guy choke away leads in playoff series for days. But how does he set the tone for this team to hit the ground running?
Well, I think it's all about buying into the system. We saw that with the New York Islanders, for example. They're not the most talented roster, but they bought into that system. And, I mean, Vegas did the exact same thing, They didn't have that one true superstar besides their goaltender, which Seattle does have. But they know that we're not going to be the best skill-wise team. They're just physically not, because there's Tampa Bay out there, there's Colorado out there. But if they buy in, if they work hard, they could be a playoff team.
I think Hackstall's going to have one player be a surprise this season, just like how William Karlsson was in his first year with the Vegas Golden Knights. We're talking about 43 goals and 78 points. He's going to have to have a player that's going to surprise him. I don't know to that level. That may be only a one-time thing, but I think they'll have one player that can do that. Whether it's Jared McCann, Jordan Eberle, only time will tell.
So we talk about failures and successes. Teams come in with high expectations, low expectations. What is one team you guys think will either succeed or fail compared to their preseason expectations?
Well, for me, I'm going to go with a team that will fail expectations, and I think it's going to be the Washington Capitals. Ooh, they have Alex Ovechkin, the greatest goal. He's old, all right? He's getting old. He's 36. Oshie's 34. Carlson's 31. Backstrom's 33. They're just becoming old, and I think another key factor is that goaltending situation. You have Samsonov, you have Vitek Vanacek. They're young guys. They're going to have to take these big roles and do a good job in net because that defense can be very shaky at times. Also, too, the Metropolitan Division, in my opinion, is the best division in hockey right now. You have the Islanders, you have the Flyers, you have the Penguins, you have the Rangers, who easily could surprise teams this year. You have the Carolina Hurricanes, who are always in there. It's going to be very hard for Washington to be that playoff team that they expect them to be.
I think it's the Chicago Blackhawks in the West. I think they're going to exceed expectations this season. Let's talk about their offseason acquisitions. They get Marc-Andre Fleury, a 3-time Stanley Cup winner, a Vezina winner last season. Then they get Seth Jones, a #1 defenseman that is going to define that blue line. He can also work on the power play. Then you also look at, they get Jonathan Toews back, their captain, who was gone all last year. Having your captain in your locker room is a huge momentum, and he's going to just create some calmness in that locker room last year. Also, I think having Kirby Dach back. He was drafted, I think, 3rd overall in his draft class a few years ago. He's one of their young forwards. Having him back is going to add a whole level of depth to their roster. The only concern I have with the Blackhawks is that they give a lot of shots up, and Marc-Andre Fleury is a veteran goaltender who's getting up in age. I don't know if you can let your goaltender get a lot of shots thrown at him. I think they were tied with the Buffalo Sabres last year with the most shots per game at 33.7%. So that'd be my one concern for the Chicago Blackhawks.
And they acquired Tyler Johnson from the Lightning, which in my opinion, slipped under the radar of the NHL news. But that's just my opinion as a host. So these older players are getting up there. These old geezers like Crosby, Chara, Ovechkin. Now we're seeing a younger crop of talent such as the McDavids, the Nate McKinnons. Who is one player in your guys' eyes that you're keeping an eye on and telling casual fans, hey, this guy's must-see TV this upcoming season?
The one player I would keep my eye on is the 5'7", 166-pound Hobey Baker winner from last year, and that is the Montreal Canadiens young forward Cole Caulfield. And the reason why I would keep my eye on him is that in 20 playoff games, he had 12 points. He had about 4 goals and 8 assists. That's pretty good. He got called up near the end of the season. To produce like that and make an impact that I think ultimately helped the Canadiens get to the Stanley Cup, that's one player you definitely want to keep your eye on. And just look at his track record. He scores everywhere he's been, whether it's been the United States National Development Program, the Under-18s, the World Junior Championships, and even at the University of Wisconsin. He can just score. He has great accuracy. He can pinpoint his shots, and the way he's able to flex his stick, I think is unparalleled to a lot of other players in the league.
Well, I'm going to go with somebody that played with him. He's got the American swagger that I love for sure. It's Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks. Last year, he only played 24 games. He had 13 points, which is respectable. I mean, coming into a COVID year, dealing with all of that. But in the AHL, he was a point-per-game player. And with that swagger in the NHL, you need that type of thing. And his puck sense is fantastic. His stick skills are incredible. His vision is something that I think is very underrated with him. And of course, that swagger, America, you know I love that. But I think you could see him getting around 50 points this year. And maybe that is bold to say, but I mean, the Anaheim Ducks team is obviously not something special. But he could be a huge bright spot and a piece for them to build around for years to come.
And the Ducks are going to need him because they haven't been relevant since the Mighty Ducks was in theaters. The original too, not the remake. But some flaming hot takes from our experts. Some I agree with and others I don't. But for now, that's all that's left to do is wait and see how the NHL season plays out this year. For Jordan Hessian and Tim Rogers, I'm Matt McLaughlin. Thanks for tuning in to Penn State Sports Night.
Thank you for watching this edition of Penn State Sports Night. If you're a fan of our content, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips. Also, follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action. For all my colleagues, we are Penn State Sports Night.